Mycotoxin illness and sensitivity can cause rage in men. I went through it myself when I was living in all these different homes that had bad mold situations, and I realized like I was much more reactive to emotional triggers. I was much more likely to incite, an aggressive tone. I was just not myself, so I'd be lifting weights, I'd be doing push-ups, I'd be doing whatever if I even could handle it. But the reality was, once I was a lot better and I was living mostly a normal life, I still was being triggered by these molds or these mycotoxins in homes, and it would affect the way that I felt mentally, cause me aggressiveness, cause me to have thought loops, ruminate on past trauma, things like that. The reality is you cannot discount the connection between mycotoxins and mental health, okay? People are going through a lot of conditions that they believe to be depression or bipolar disorder or whatever it is, but the reality is it could often just be mycotoxin exposure and chronic mycotoxin exposure that has incited in neuroinflammatory response that has not been able to be stopped since, right? And when people have past trauma or they have other things going on, when they have constantly inhaled these mycotoxins, it makes their brain start to have dysfunction. And, the dopamine and serotonin, the GABA, all these neurotransmitters become altered and imbalanced, and it causes a lot of issues with mental health. I went to various doctors, and tried all these different medications. I tried different substances. I tried everything. And the reality was, the only thing that really brought me back to some centeredness when I was living in a mycotoxin saturated environment was doing meditation and deep breathing. And even then, that was short-lived, because when I'd be triggered, I would kind of get back to where I was before, because the reality was I was still inhaling these mycotoxins, which were causing neurological inflammation. You cannot, overemphasize the concept of mycotoxins enough. I've worked with lots and lots of people who have had chronic illnesses of various types, anything from autoimmune disease to OCD to gut health issues to, the list goes on and on, asthma, all these things. And the common factor is that mycotoxins can cause all these things. Is it the cause to everything? No, it isn't, right? Is diet the cause to a lot of things? Yeah. Is mindset, is your neurological system, your limbic system the cause of a lot of things? Yeah, absolutely. But you can't discount the environment, especially if you have a mental health disorder. And if you think it's because of all these situations around you, it's because of my mom, it's because of the business. No, it's because she cheated on me. It's because whatever it is, right? But no, the reality is you keep hyperfixating it over and over and over on these things. And it could be that it's not actually your fault. It could be that the mold is making your mind go over and over and over on these things. And for me, it turned into rage. It turned into aggressiveness. And, this is how it happens for men a lot of the time. For women, it turns into rumination, despair, fear, things like that often. And for men, it just turns into aggressiveness and being, pushy with things and having a short fuse and stuff like that. And the reason it affects them differently is because we have different hormone makeups. So when the mold comes in or the mycotoxins are inhaled, we start to have different responses based upon our hormonal makeup, and our immune systems respond differently. So thanks for watching, everybody. I just want to share my experiences. Mycotoxins can affect your mental health. They did for me, even when I was living a pretty normal, healthy life. When I was living in a moldy home and my daughter was not doing too well, I realized, that I also had, this hyperactivation of my limbic system, this aggressiveness, these short fuses, these things. And once I got finally into an environment that wasn't contaminated, that was new, and it was, I was out in the air most of the day, etc., I realized, hey, wow, it's more complicated than that. It's more complicated than I thought. It's actually the mycotoxins did affect my PTSD symptoms. They did affect, my depression. They did affect my anxiety. They did affect all these things. There was no doubt about it. So if you're stuck in this all your life, you've been fighting against this thing, maybe it's mycotoxins, maybe it's not you, maybe it's not something that's wrong with you, maybe it's just something in the air that's causing this. So thanks for watching, everybody. Go to my website, endsickness.org. I got hundreds of videos, hundreds of articles on there teaching you how to heal yourself, and hope to see you again at another video. Subscribe to my YouTube page.